You're a different generation than me. You've been raised differently. You talk differently. I can't joke with you the same. We don't know the same things. So it's hard to
I remember
relate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've brought up so many personal anecdotes.
They help
today.
plenty, man.
I'm gonna bring up another one. I remember I had a conversation with a particular individual, and he was talking about a particular termide. And he's like, I want to bring in this termide, but it wasn't even like to give like lectures. It was like more like a more casual setting, like just talk about life problems. And I was like, Habibi, like with respect, مع كل احترام للترميدة, right? He's our priest. He doesn't have the first clue what my problems are, right? Or so and so. You know what I mean? Like you bring someone that's really troubled, like really troubled. Like you bring someone in, like, let's go extreme, right? Let's go super extreme. Theoretically, I don't know any Mandaeans like this, but theoretically, someone walks in off the street, I'm a former drug addict.
What could he offer them? Besides maybe a word of advice.
Or I was in prison. Like, things like this, like, it's not just the priest. He knows what drug addiction is.
Yeah.
He knows what prison is. But he doesn't know what the lead up to that is, right? And I feel like that knowing that lead up, what pushes somebody to get to that point? It's important for the priest to know, yeah? You might have seen that Dr. Gabor Mate.
Maybe.
He's a doctor, and he specializes in addiction and that kind of stuff. And he says addiction is not it's not a disease. It's a fix for something else.
No, I know which doctor.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He goes, the disease is something else.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
So I guess this comes back to another thing, which like there's the I call it a system of allegiance. Every community, every group that you join in your life, there is a system of allegiance between you and that group, which is what pulls you to keep going back to that group. What is it that draws you back again and again and again? Let's take school.
Yeah.
Consequences. Yeah? Either you come or you get expelled. To take another example, like for you, I know like a passion of yours is cars.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there is a community of car lovers. What drives you to keep going back to that community? I'm not a car person, so you got to tell me on this one.
The help. Yeah, I mean, sometimes relationships are built purely on the fact that we have the same car. We've had the same car. So it's a common love for something, a common vision. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We share that.
Yep.
And it brings us closer together.
Yep.
And more than, I mean, it's just a car. It's a piece of metal on four wheels. But all of a sudden...
What does it represent? You know, what it's about what that car represents to you and that other person.
A dream. It's something symbolic. It's an achievement. It's a mountain of sorts, right? That's my Everest. It could be. You know what I mean? If it's a particular car I want and that person has it, he's at my Everest. How do I get there? And then he sees that in me, and he wants the same for me, and now we're actually, I mean, on the same page.
Absolutely. I would summarize that relationship as a relationship of brotherhood, a relationship of support towards achieving a particular goal.
Yeah.
That's the system of allegiance. That's what draws you and him back in.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a community, we don't know what our system of allegiance is.
That's a fair statement.
I feel like we've tried to use religion
Yeah.
as our system of allegiance, and it hasn't worked with the desired effect.
So what would be the appropriate route to go to achieve that?
It's a good question. I think a cultural. I think that it shouldn't just be religious. I think cultural and religious should be used in tandem.
Yeah.
Because where people may not relate much to their religion, or may not the religion might not resonate with them on that kind of level, the
The culture aspect might do.
might
Yeah.
of being a part of a community where we all speak this unique language, we have these unique values, we're part of a unique group, and you're part of, we come back to what we said before, you're part of that bigger whole.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had more of that,
Yeah.
we'd have less people coming around and saying, why should I care about being Mandaean?
I agree.
Right? Why should I care? Yeah.
Back to the age gap
With the priests?
with the priests.
Yeah.
And this will kind of tie off the dissonance you said between childhood. Right at that point you brought up.
Yes.
We need to overcome that, but it's not a simple leap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you said, it needs to start early. Okay. There are more, like there's plenty of people that are very religious and going into that kind of shkenda and then talmud and so on and so on. And they're kind of the next step.
The next generation.
Yeah. So what I think as foundational steps, those people should be given training, and that training should be funded by the community. You know what I mean? Whether it's the Mendy or whatever it is. That way you have an investment into your future. When those people are now trained to get along better with youth and children and know how to inspire and talk, especially talk. You don't understand, if I'm there at a lecture, not even religious, if I'm at university and I can't understand that lecturer quite well,
Switch off.
I'm gone.
Yep.
Now my brain, I'm a little ADHD, so my brain now focuses on that and purely that, nothing else. And as we all know, ADHD is going up on a rise because of all the social media and overstimulation, dopamine and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to speak well and communicate and break through that gap and actually resonate with someone, that'll change so much.
Yeah.
And that starts with training.
Yes, I agree with you. I think to put in place training for priests to communicate with the younger children in our community and develop that relationship is huge. I think there's also a degree of I don't want to say stubbornness, but I think that when you want to fix a problem, how do you go about fixing a problem? How do you go about fixing an illness, like with respect to a human being?
Your first step is actually acknowledging that there is one.
Thank you. Thank you. And I feel like some priests, unfortunately, some of the Talmidiyya, when you go up to them and you say to them, yeah, but would like you to improve your communication skills in terms of how you relate to the younger generations in our community. يعني انت قصدك أنا ما أعرف شلون أحكي ويا الشباب. It's like, no, I'm not saying that. أنت قابليتك تحكي ويا الشباب قوي.
Yeah.
لكن نريد نقوي القابلية. We want to make it better.
Yeah.
We want to improve you. لأن أنت you are our priest. أنت الترميدة مالتنا.
Yeah.
نريد نصعدك.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they take it, the intention is pure.
Yeah.
You want to make them better, they take it as the opposite.
Yeah.
But I think that's an older generation thing.
Yeah, but they're all older generation. That's a problem.
No, well, you got some of the younger ones coming through now,
Yeah.
but as I agree with you, as it stands, they are of an older generation.
Yeah.
They are of an older generation. And I think that's also why, like coming back to what I said before, you kind of open that cultural route as well. The cultural route, like if people speak Mandaic between one another, you speak the language, that's not dependent on a priest,
That's true.
right? It's not like with the religious route, like you go, like do sbaga, you need a taramida there to baptize you.
Yeah.
To speak the language, and for you and me to, let's say, communicate in Mandaic, or for you and me to sit down and write a Mandaic song and put it up on Spotify, full respect to the priest. He may help us in learning Mandaic, but we don't need him there to achieve that task, right? And I think that's where some of the more the more novel, younger, youthful ideas can transcend because you use the culture as a medium
Yeah.
to bring in more new and fresh ideas. And I think when I say this, a lot of people think that, oh, you're going to set up culture, you're going to set up religion, and the two are going to butt heads. No.
No.
They work together in tandem. They work
It's hand
in
in hand.
unison.
Yeah.
Because like we've spoken about in previous episodes, inevitably, when you learn the language, you get closer to your religion. And when you learn the religion, you have a better command of the language. You like it, you don't like it. This is the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's really big. The language route.
Yeah.
Because if someone's raised like speaking Arabic, they speak Arabic with Mandaeans, they speak Arabic with non-Mandaean Middle Easterns.
Yeah.
They say, oh, okay. So, I'm with them or I'm with them, it's no different. I speak Arabic with them, I speak Arabic with them.
Yeah.
I listen to Kadhim al-Sahar with them, I listen to Kadhim al-Sahar with them. Kadhim, don't sue us for using your name. Yeah, right? I eat dolma with them, I eat dolma with them.
Yeah.
Shil farq, what's the difference? Same. Right? It's not, I speak Mandaic with them and Arabic with them. Now there's a point of difference, an ostensible, tangible point of difference.
Yeah.
I feel like that dynamic is a very big reason why you have a lot of people come and say, why should I care about my community? Because what they're saying to you is, why should I care? The full question is, why should I care about my community more than I care about other communities? That's what they're really asking you. Why does my Mandaean community deserve special attention? That's what you need to answer. What is the reason that your community deserves special attention? You get me?
Yeah.
So I think that's the language aspect is big in that regard. But again, it comes back to the other things like families and whatnot. I think that's huge.
And what other, would you say, are problems from having that what are they doing for me aspect? What other problems arise? Because you brought up that first point, the first 2 points.
Yeah.
And then you had a third one, right?
Well, I haven't written anything down, but we can jump into that. Like, what is the negative effect on the community as a result of having that kind of rhetoric?
Yes, but also, how can you change those people's minds? What more could be said?
Okay. If I had to, like this is all well and good on the podcast, but if I had to just speak with a Mandaean person one-on-one, I'd say to them, I understand that human beings have a tendency to believe wholeheartedly that they as an individual are unique.
Yeah.
But please, come around and show your face. Come around and say hi to people. The number of people that you will meet who are just like you, who've gone through the same experience as you, who've had the same upbringing as you, will shock you. I promise you. I promise you that.
Yeah.
And that's very big. When you come in, you're like, oh, well, that person's just like me. That person has the same upbringing as me. I've had this personally. When you go, you meet Mandaeans, oh, come over my house for chai, barbecue, whatever you go. Oh, marhaba ibni, whatever, come. And you're almost getting like flashbacks of your own family. It's like being at your own family house. You're like, oh, they're like me.
Yeah.
I'm like them. We're the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the advice that I would give point blank to Mandaeans. Please come meet people. If you don't like it, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
So basically,
but just come and meet people, please. Yeah. Because again, the number of people that you will see who are just like you will shock you.
Yeah.
That's mine. What about you?
So what it seems like to me is that this question and this problem arises when people aren't involved in the community. Because if they weren't involved in their community, then they would see that, you know what I mean, which to some people it's not much to offer. There's still a lot, right? So they wouldn't ask that question if they were more involved, and they could actually see that there are things that are being done. These people are just like you, and it is a family. And as you were saying, when you go to someone's house and you realize that I mean, it's not just like home. It sparks something. And this brings me back to a particular event that the youth hosted a couple of years back, the boat party. And
Yeah.
I saw a bloke there.
First one or the second one?
The second one.
Yep.
I saw a bloke there. Looks oddly familiar. And I'm thinking, and he keeps looking at me. I think, do I know this bloke? And eventually he approaches me. Hey, William. Hey, bro. He's like, you don't remember me, do you?
Mm-hmm.
I think I do. I don't know. And he says his name. And I go, huh? He goes, yeah, from primary school.
Nah.
I go, no way. I go, bro, you're Mandaean. He goes, yeah. Bro, you don't understand. All of a sudden, and mind you, cuz me and that person didn't have the best of relationships in primary. But I can tell you right now, bro, if I knew, and if he knew I was Mandaean, if I knew he was Mandaean in primary, it would have been a different story. Because, man, us, the Mandaeans in primary school, because we were huddled up, playing soccer together. Yeah, bro, we're a team.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, bro, if there was a fight going on, and listen, yalla, let's go fight. It was amazing. And that brought us a lot, like, really close, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then every now and then we'll go to, shisha lounge or this or that. And... man, all of a sudden, this person that you would have thought, oh, yeah, just a kid from high by this and that. Nah, now it's like, hey, bro, these guys are family.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So when you have that with someone, when you have that with your community, you become a lot closer. And then you'd slowly start wanting to build things. And the amount of youth we've seen come through here, and they go, listen, man, I was born in Australia. I've never made contact with the community. And you know what? I thought I'd give it a go. I had my thoughts. I had my, you know what I mean, ideas of this and that. And then they came here. And you know, one particular person who helped so much in the youth group. And he was a force to be reckoned with. And he enjoyed it so much. And man, everyone flourished. You know what I mean? And he thought that, no, not in a million years. They're not my vibe and this and that. We're just too far apart. But then you realize, man, these are my people, and we're so close together. Some of these guys are literally close together, as in like they live in the same neighborhood.
Is this the person that you're talking about, who I think you're talking about?
Yeah.
And they're not with the youth group anymore?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
I'll give you a funny story about this person.
Tell me.
I went home. I'm like, Mom, do you know Flan? She goes, yeah. She goes, yeah, you know them. I know them. Yeah, Flan. She's like, go ask your BB. Anyway, long story short, that guy, his grandmother used to come over my grandmother's house all the time when I was younger. Oh, wow. I know his grandmother very well. Very, very well. And I pulled him. I go, hey. I didn't pull him. I called him. I remember. I go, so your grandmother? He goes, yeah. I go, I've been working with you for 5-6 months. Why didn't you say anything? He goes, I don't know. How am I supposed to know you know my grandmother? Right? But you're like, wow, small world.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying. Once you start discovering these links, oh, this person, I have this in common with them, or this in common with them. And don't get me wrong, you're not going to come to through the doors of the community. You're not going to find your one and only. You might. But this isn't Love Story by Taylor Swift. Where you're going to come in and you're going to lock eyes across the room. That might go hit your shit. Yeah. Right? And you're not going to come and find your best friend. Right? You're not going to find like the person that you should have been attached at the hip with when you were born. Yeah. Right?
Maybe not instantly.
Maybe not instantly, but if you come to the community expecting perfection, you'll be disappointed in every facet. Yeah. And I say this all the time.
And that's with anything.
Yeah. Yeah. But just come to see how much you can relate to people. Try it as an experiment, right? Like, try it as an experiment. Like, I'm Mandaean, I don't want to get involved in my community. Try it as an experiment. Come for 6 months. What's 6 months of your life in the grand scheme of things?
And it's not like 6 months it's not a full-time job. It's just go there every once a week.
That's right.
And see what happens.
And I'm not saying like get on stage and sing karaoke every week. Like, don't put yourself at the forefront. just come and just mingle.
Yeah.
You could sit in the corner for all I care. Inevitably, you'll mingle with people.
Yeah.
And just come and do it as an experiment. How much are these people like me? How much can I relate to these people? I remember another personal anecdote. A fellow by the name of Harry Friedman. He's the inventor of the Friedman sales program, one of the most successful retail sales programs sold all around the world.
Okay.
I believe he got in some hot water last time I checked, so there may be some controversy around him. If there is something to do with him that he's done wrong, we don't condone whatever he's done. I can't remember. Anyway, I remember one time reading one of his, not reading, it was actually like an audio thing. It was the podcast before podcast.
Yeah.
About sales. And he said, we have these particular notions and these particular ideas of who is going to buy and who is not going to buy when they walk in through the door.
Yeah.
Right? So you're a sales assistant, you see a person, you judge them based on how they're dressed, or even small things, like if they're carrying like shopping,
Yeah.
they're going to be less likely to stick around and have a look and spend time to buy.
Yeah.
Because they've probably got something that needs to be put in the fridge so they don't have time to spend.
Well, it depends on the type of shopping, but yeah.
Right, like, you don't know what they've bought. And he said, I've changed my mindset. He says, instead of saying, this person comes in, this person they're not going to buy. He said, what I do is I challenge myself. I say, let me see if today is the day that I can break the stereotype. Let's see if today is the day I can break the idea that I have in my mind, the mold that I have in my mind about people who dress like this or look like this or come in holding this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So instead of, he sees that person come in and he reduces them to, they're not going to buy. He actually flips it into a positive and he says, let me challenge myself. Let me see if I can break that mold, break this idea myself.
Yeah.
And I think that applies really well to our community, where challenge yourself. Yeah. I'm unique. The Mandaeans in the youth group, they're all import or they're all these. We've heard it all before. Yeah. Challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself to go in and see how much can you break that mold.
Yeah.
How much can you break that preconception about the community? How many things can you find to relate to other people with? Just try.
I think that's such a good idea because you know what? On first glance, it's like a lot of people, I didn't get along with them and I didn't like them. But you know what? Let me just, one more word and one more word, one more conversation. And before you know it, you get down deep enough and then a different person is revealed.
Yeah.
And you realize, I do click with this person. They're a great person.
I'll give you an excellent example. This podcast for us.
True.
Like we were tight as mates beforehand, but not to the point where like we're calling every day, like, hey mate, we need to do this, we need to do that. Let's get this for the podcast.
Yeah.
We found something that we can both relate over because we're both enthusiastic about this podcast.
Yeah.
Develops a different layer of the relationship. And if we had never started this podcast, I don't think we would have ever hit that kind of level of being mates.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And you don't know who you're going to find that with next.
That's true.
You know, you could have someone, you relate to them about cars, or I relate to them about like music related stuff because that's something that I like.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know what's coming through the door. It's like food, man. Don't knock it till you try it. You know, people come and say, I don't want to eat this. Give it a chance, bro.
No, it's a really good way of looking at things.
I think that's like the one thing that I'd say to people.
Just get out there.
Get out there.
Have a conversation.
If I had to say a second thing, I'd say meditate heavily on who you are as a Mandaean. Sit down and meditate with yourself. What does it mean to be a Mandaean? I think that's really big. So, but I think you also kind of need to come and interact with your community to do that. But please, sit down, ask yourself, I am a Mandaean. What does that mean to me?
Yeah.
Meditate with yourself and find that answer of what it means to you to be a
look
Mandaean.
back to your childhood of what you thought a Mandaean was. You know what I mean? Like, my earliest memories is in Iraq, outside, Dad's doing the Gadioch Shemo Yibroch, you know what I mean? And he'll say, come here. Okay, copy me. Say what I say. and I'm there, and usually sometimes my cousins are over, and we'll all do this. It's a vibe. Oh, it's cool. Yalla, let's get it with dad.
Yeah.
And you're there, and you're doing what he does, and you're washing your hands with the
Yeah.
water, and you're saying everything correctly and after him. And that was a memory of Mandaeanism. Another one was, well, there wasn't really a Mendi or anything in Iraq, but the marriage of my sister. I was very young, but I still remember it. And just the community and the whole wedding and the ceremony. And but back then, they used to stick out the side of the car while it's moving through the window, have some guns, fire them off, or start yelling and
As it is in Iraq.
double and this and that.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was also a beautiful memory.
Yeah.
And it keeps going and going. And when you find other people, man, I remember asking my cousin such a stupid question. I go to him, "Hey bro, what are you?" He goes, "Huh?" I go like, "Are you Mashmani?" And he goes, "What are you on about? We're cousins." And mind you, cuz I was 3. Okay, so don't judge me for this stupid question.
All right, yeah,
I was 3 or 4 years old.
No, that's cool.
But I remember having this curiosity of, okay, we're cousins, but what else?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There has to be something more.
Yeah. And it's just like funny moments. But I think everyone should look back to their childhood and just remember those, let's call them Mandaean moments. Okay? And not for everyone, there might not be a defining moment.
That's actually what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Someone comes and says, I have no Mandaean moments in my childhood. I was born here, like literally, but I have Mandaean moments in my childhood.
Yeah.
Not 3 or 4, a little bit older for me. But there are no other people who are born here and they don't have that experience. So what would you say to them? Whether they do or they don't, as far as they're concerned, they don't.
Okay.
I don't have anything mundane or any mundane moments to point to in my childhood. What am I supposed to rely on?
So should you try to relate your experience to them, or tell them about?
I'm asking you. Like, what would you say to that person? Someone comes up to you and says, I have no mundane moments in my childhood.
Well, ideally, I'd want to present my experiences to them.
Yeah.
And paint it in such a way where I don't want to say they would envy it, but they'd go, I missed out. I wish I had that. So ideally, that's what I'd want to communicate. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? I wish I had it.
Yeah.
That type of deal. So, and if they're not convinced by that route, then maybe I'll bring them along to my niece's first baptism, my sister's wedding, and just community events where they can see what it's like, and it might spark something in them. Is that fair?
I think that is fair. I think that's very fair. Yeah. I think we are at, if someone has no mundane moments, then they can also look at it as a blank slate.
That's true.
And then you are, by talking about what you experienced in your childhood and growing up, you're telling them what they can colour that blank slate with. What can they colour that blank canvas with? Because the colour that you can paint that blank canvas with is truly beautiful. But
and it's going to be totally from scratch, very unique.
That's exactly right. You have the opportunity to build your own unique mundane experience the way you want to.
And not just for you, but also for your family and
That's
kids.
exactly right. Because that's something that's passed down.
Yeah.
You know, pass it down to your kids the way you never had it passed down to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like, and you'll hear this a lot, and we spoke about it earlier. I don't like the way my family does this.
Yeah.
Be the change. Be the change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 things that you can change, at least, about the way that your family does things, with the way you raise your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be the change.
Yeah. As I say, you can build it better.
But it doesn't mean that you don't have to run away to, like, Japan.
Yeah.
And find, like, a non-Mandaean husband there, or a non-Mandaean wife there, and this is the only way that I can change the way that I was brought up.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Be the change you want to see in your own community.
Yeah.
Be the Mandaean to your kids that you wish your parents were for you.
Yeah. And that starts by being active in the community and picking the beautiful parts that you like from each different person, character, event, and creating an ideal version.
If you don't know what kind of Mandaean you are, how can you be the Mandaean that you always wanted when you were a kid as a parent? There's a prerequisite there.
Yeah.
Okay, I say to people, be the Mandaean parent that you wanted to have when you were a kid. Be that for your own kids. But there's a prerequisite to that, which is, what kind of a Mandaean am I?
Yeah.
Again, what does it mean to me to be a Mandaean? What are the values that I'm going to teach my kids, and which of them am I going to point back to my community?
And you can't do that solo. You have to be involved again.
That's right.
And see what's happening.
What do I like? What do I not like?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Like for me, if I bring this back to cars, if I'm on the track and I want to get a really fast time, I can do it by myself, just like if there's no one else on the track, and I could try, but I might not always get the best time I can.
Yep.
But when there's someone in front of me, and now, especially if they're better than me and I'm tailing them, now I know what to do even better. Okay, it provides me direction, let's call it. Gives me some direction. Before you know it, I've surpassed that person. But what I'm trying to say is, you need someone to follow. Okay, and it's not just, I'm not saying go follow someone, but
with blind faith.
Blind faith,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
But you need things to guide you. You need to see people and how they interact with other people and those events. And those, you kind of follow bits and bobs and you get that whole picture.
I agree. Yeah. I think we've covered everything quite comprehensively.
Yeah.
As a parting, good Lord, we still online?
Yeah.
Amazing. As a parting little message, yeah, put it into one sentence, yeah. People say, because the start of the podcast, start of the episode was, I am a Mandaean. I didn't ask to be born Mandaean. Why should I care about being Mandaean? To answer that in one sentence, to end the episode.
You have an amazing and rich past. You have a modest and foundational present. And you have a limitless future that's full of untapped potential. And you could be right there in the middle of it. This could be your Everest.
I love that.
Past, present, future. When they say the world's your oyster, this little world of ours, our community, is literally your oyster. Your time is now.
I like that. It's a bit more than a sentence, but I like it. Bit of a pure paragraph. No, I like that. I think it's huge.
Sums up pretty much everything.
I agree. Yeah. There's no need for me to say anything after that.
There you go.
We're happy to wrap it up there.
Till next time.
Till next time.